Clashes as cops attempt to displace Kiev protesters. Clashes have erupted outside City Hall in the Ukrainian capital Kiev as police try to oust occupying protesters. The clashes follow a night of scuffles and a standoff after police moved in on a large protest camp in Independence Square. But more demonstrators have joined the protest in response to an opposition call for solidarity. The government's decision to withdraw from a free trade deal with the EU last month sparked huge street rallies. Human walls. Police stormed City Hall as they tried to dislodge protesters from the building. Reports said protesters used hoses to fire icy water back at the police. Protesters gathered around the police, chanting slogans against their action, says the 5-canal TV station in scenes carried on a live feed from the protests. Police had moved in on the protest at about 100 hours GMT, saying they wanted to free up a passage through the square for traffic. Protesters in hard hats locked arms to form human walls to try to resist the police push. At least 9 people were detained. There were calls for restraint from priests intoning prayers and pop singer Ruslan urging, "Do not hurt us," on a stage in the square. More people flooded into the square in response to pleas for solidarity. The latest police action comes after EU Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton held talks with President Viktor Yanukovych on Tuesday. Baroness Ashton, who was cheered by crowds when she visited Kiev's main protest site, said she was saddened that police had later used force to try to remove protesters. "I was among you on Maidan Independence Square in the evening and was impressed by the determination of Ukrainians demonstrating for European perspective of the country," she said in a statement posted on Facebook. "Some hours later I observe with sadness that police uses force to remove peaceful people from the center of Kiev. The authorities didn't need to act under the coverage of night to engage with the society by using police." Riot police and Interior Ministry officers dismantled some barriers and tents but met resistance from opposition supporters. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry also condemned the action late on Tuesday. The United States expresses its disgust with the decision of Ukrainian authorities to meet the peaceful protest in Kiev's Maidan Square with riot police, bulldozers, and batons, rather than with respect for democratic rights and human dignity, he said. "This response is neither acceptable nor does it befit a democracy." President Yanukovych said on Monday that government officials could visit Brussels this week to resume talks on the EU association agreement. His statement came after hundreds of thousands of protesters turned out in Kiev on Sunday, demanding the resignation of the government within 48 hours. Several people were hurt on Monday night as riot police advanced on protesters, dismantling a number of barricades in the center of the capital. Government buildings are blockaded with cars, barricades and tents.